John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.
Why is faith important to you?
It means that everything has a purpose, that the purpose is good. That we'll see my mother again one day. It's faith that leads us to the blessed place.
Is that important to you, little Sandra?
How did you know my mother called me that?
A few of the worthy, the special ones, I take into myself. I take their memories, skills, dreams, everything that makes them what they are. Their template lives forever in me.
A template? That's the soul.
Your mother is here in me. You could join her, together forever. Would you choose to?
Sevi, why are you afraid? What's wrong?
Sevi has nothing to be afraid of. She's answered her questions well and been promised eternal life.
Sevi, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes. I'm so happy.
Your choice will determine your fate for eternity. Take time to consider it well.
I have His Eminence. We are heading to his chambers.
You do your job well.
Thank you.
If this moment is to be my last, I trust you will allow me to look upon it with my own eyes. Most worthy Sagittara. Precious gift. Freedom from your concerns and attachments. You have now glimpsed the infinite intelligence and seen the deliverance that I bring. Are you ready to serve? Are you ready to be the instruments of my will?
I don't know. Hey! What? Can I ask what's happening? Bill? Bill? Bill, what are you doing? What are you looking for? A sign from God? Some sort of pioneer trek into the desert? Hello? Bill! What the fuck?!
Just take a moment. Look out. I'm not sure why folks need to call such things a sign from God. Why not just appreciate it? If there is no God, isn't this just all the more miraculous? Breathe. From here. What I'm saying is be here and listen. The gut is wiser than most people think. It's a compass. It'll give you all the wisdom you need.
Hey guys, welcome. It's Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, Servant of Truth with you once more. As always, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey during this pretty amazing, uncertain and epic times. I hope this finds you well, and if you've been thorough with me lately and you've gone deep into those last two releases I've done, relative to the Mystery Schools, Part 1 and 2, where again it was another awesome session with Karleen Tammik, so I thank her for allowing me to share something pretty private, especially someone so aware, because sharing, say, a session like that with someone that basically is living infinite, it's being very brave, right? But it's also showing how hardcore and tough she is, right, to be able to handle it. There's so many variables in those that are hard to fathom for the vast majority. So I know that they were quite long, but there was purpose behind their length. And as I said in the intros of them, I was intending to just select a small 20-minute bit and have a bit of a recording with her and stuff, and then it was like, no, I'll just do one show and then we'll have a chat, and then it was like, nah, this is too good. So there was a lot in there, many different variables, and I got hammered from them. Alright, they were very, very hard work, and I've been very low to the ground. Alright, and this past week that's gone, I did basically 3 infinites on myself. Like, I love doing my own extended sessions on myself. I do it from time to time. I do my revocation all the time as well. And I basically did 3, but I did also a lot of meditation, a lot of physical sort of stuff, a lot of sleeping as well. And I was under pretty heavy targeting for the last couple of weeks, alright, like next level targeting. And you might think it's because of what you're familiar with, but another variable in the offering of those sessions that I helped Karleen a great deal with to activate her plasma bodies, but also a big thing we got going was her rainbow bodies, or rainbow body from my perspective, okay? So I've dealt with people with ethnicity and sort of accommodation of, say, the Buddhist Tibetan ideology, if that makes sense. So I've been made very aware of what the rainbow body is, basically, for a long time. Okay, as an epitome of spiritual exploration in physical form, right? But this is a big thing, and this is what most people probably wouldn't get, and the rationale from my perspective, and I know Karleen already knows it, alright? The reason I offered those as such rich, big releases are they're probably the most significant releases, or some of the most significant ones that I've done so far for this reason. What I tend to do with Karleen is she gets hammered and we backtrack what's going on. We reverse engineer it to find out what's going on. And so what I'm going to do in this video is do a bit of fill in some gaps of the mystery schools, the past 2 releases of these big ones, because I think they're pretty hard for people to digest of what's going on, and this sort of information that I'm offering will help many of you to realize what they were now. As I said, it probably won't be realized for 10 years or whatever, and this is not a negative to the Buddhist expression out there, alright, but my assumption, and I don't make assumptions lightly, is basically everything from the Ayani massacre 25,000 years ago on the surface needs to be heavily discerned, especially something that has massive influence, okay? You've got to really raise the bar, raise the volume on your discernment of all these things in our society that actually have influence, right? And these spiritual explorations out there, they should have high levels of discernment of what's going on, alright? This is in Galactic Special Force Part 2, and there was one that was before that I've said, but Part 2 was about releasing a lot of stuff under the Vatican, alright? Very negative stuff. So this, what I'm offering in tying up, because I'm doing this quite late in the day, I don't know how much light there is, and I just want to get a few things out relative to that, because I think, like I said, not many people really realize what we did there, is by engaging the rainbow body in Karleen in a living form, it goes against that traditions. Right? If you go and search Tibetan Buddhism, rainbow body, just go and look at that. Do some keyboard ninjaing, get your fingers working hard and do some research of that. Because my perception of that, because I've got quite a extensive appreciation of it from many years ago, alright, for a long time, because I've been in the trenches hardcore like this for a while, is that my feel about that ideology is that those people that are able to get to that level, now we know the Phantom Matrix and all that, they're probably getting to a threshold and then they're taken out, alright? That's just a variable that I'm playing with now. I could be totally wrong, alright? Because the key that we did in those two epic recordings, over a 6-hour period, my usual infinite potential sessions, alright, holding the line pretty high level, and I was coming off doing a lot of self-work, and so I've had to do that this week, alright? I've had to go on that level of very high self-healing and get myself back on the game, because I don't think I would have basically survived unless I did that stuff late March and April. And yeah, and you guys might think it's a variable out there that we've been taking apart for a while, alright? And I've been going at for many years, alright? But the level of shit that's come at me can't be that. It's got to be this, alright? Because I did something pretty amazing with Karleen. And the key that I want to offer here, the connection to that. And I may have shown the video at the start of what happened on the 6th of April 2013. Alright, that's the exact date that I did this session with Karleen. And it's ironic, alright? So I might show that video here, I might show you something here, I might show you just images around me, because maybe I don't want to show you the video, but it was just, it didn't add up, okay? Why would the head of that belief system do something, alright? Because my attitude is the programming breakdown of the control, alright? So what we did, alright, long story short, so if you have gone through those recordings, and like I said, the conscious Tetris, you get to different layers and you hear what you hear, some parts you may not hear. What we essentially did, okay, and Karleen was Babylon's. She had a demon that stole part of her memory that was like a codex of unlocking a lot of the other stuff, which the demon level was the first level, then the next level was the weaponized past life projection, alright, to create doubt, okay? So she was targeted through time, had horrible deaths for a long time, to then have them all weaponized to her now to create doubt in herself for stepping up. So we had to remove all that and all the traumas of all that. So that's like pretty epic through time soul DNA surgery, alright? And going after all that shit, which we worked out. And then it came to the mystery schools, alright? And if you read the write-ups that I did on them, it's all of our stories. You wouldn't be here unless the metaphor of what Karleen went through and what she is able to be aware of, us all standing up against this bullshit for a long time and the same shit being done to us. So doubt, there's a weaponized doubt variable that I want to get into in this recording, okay? So I don't know if this is basically going to be a cross between Mystery School Part 3 and Emotional Mastery Part 7. And I was thinking about I did Emotional Mastery Part 6 about the contamination of our perception mechanics, alright, with variables that aren't relevant to it, okay? And how in fear states and all that we can contaminate our perception. And fear offers a potency and a power to add more variables, but we contaminate the variables by not being able to discern them and stuff. And so this weaponized doubt, to me, you just imagine if 40% of your doubt isn't of this life. It's just being projected through you to amplify the doubt and the uncertainty to move forward, because if you step out and own your power and own the infinite, then this shit kicks in to sabotage that, and you don't even know where it's coming from. Can you imagine? And this is an interesting time with the Buddhism thing, because it's one of the few ideologies out there that actually accepts sort of past lives and all that sort of stuff, which I've offered the Incarnation War series, that the whole incarnation mechanics is fully understood by these occupiers of our planet, right? And it's being weaponized against us, and we're born into this unawareness realm, and we're wiped at birth. There's Babylon massacres and stuff. So I included a very potent clip and videos at the start of part 2 of the mystery schools, where basically it was like the whole Egyptian era was very recent compared to the 25,000 years and before that we've been dealing with the Galactic Special Forces and the Amplified the Echo series, alright? So, just getting back to the Buddhism thing. What I'm wanting to offer and then tie up is, and this goes to the revocation that I've written about the Infinite Potential Part 2 on, which was based on my appreciation of the AshayanaDeane perspectives. And I, as I said, offered a pretty potent clip at the start of part 2 that's well worth going through, because I offered that Bob Frizzle clip about the mystery schools, and then I said I put the context image and then go deeper, and it's all a lot of it's just bullshit, right? What we've been offered is the distortion on many levels, right? What we've been allowed to have trickle through is tainted and all that sort of stuff, if that makes sense. So what I'm getting to about the mystery schools and the Buddhist sort of expression, which is even more recent than that era of Egypt and stuff, is we had to go back with Karleen to collect her DNA codes that were still being used to be an anchor for all that control, and we took them back, all right? And so we went, and the first part was getting the mystery schools back, all right, that were done, because they were still being used and employed and needed as an ally to maintain that influence in our society, if that makes sense. Even though it's not that familiar, it's about the control of the narrative and all that sort of stuff. And so then in the second part, when we've done all that psychic DNA surgery on her and stuff, we got all the different ingredients throughout it, and then at the end we were able to tie it together. And then after reclaiming all the other stuff, then it was about she had that experience in Nepal, all right, where she was flying over the Himalayas and got this big download of codes and stuff like that, which she hadn't been able to really access for 20 years. And then by tying all that together, she was able to access them, and not only that engaged her rainbow body. And so it was very poetic on many levels, that gaining those codes back, and the head of that ideology that's the focal point of the hierarchy of it all did that freaking crazy shit, alright? You really go and Google Dalai Lama tongue if I don't show the video. Why would some being who's a incarnate that goes through all the lineages and they find him the same apex being of a soul? If you understand incarnation and the incarnation war, it's not supported at all in the narrative, but this expression relative to that is accepted, and this being that is the focal point, okay, of that, it's seen as acceptable. I just find that very interesting, and it, discern the shit out of me. I could be totally wrong in that, but what I will just offer is my perspective of this. There's a relationship between the mystery schools and getting to the Buddhist tradition now. And I'm not saying that it was all bad. I've been, ironically, today I was just listening after I woke up to, so it's raining a bit. I've had to move a little bit, but I'll push on through. We'll see how this goes. So yeah, I was just listening to Asha as always, just chilling out, listening, and I found a bit of a clip relative to that. So I hope you can hear this. It's raining. I've left it pretty late in the day. But what my appreciation of, say, the the Tibetan Buddhism sort of tradition is, we can even look in our era, alright, is that, and if you appreciate what I've offered in, it's raining pretty hard, so I'll see how I go. But if we appreciate the pattern of what goes on, is that the pure teachings and indigos are hunted down and then compromised and hijacked. Nothing on the surface has had a real great opportunity against all this shit. So I would say that's a variable, and it was probably hijacked at some point. But what I'm getting to about the Buddhist expression, and I'm not saying the Dalai Lama is bad or anything like that. To me, it's probably more likely what's going to happen is that it's been a focal point and had a lot of interest, so there's probably a lot of soul wars and stuff going on in it. And more importantly, there's been probably a lot of truths that have been held back that we haven't been able to access. So I would offer that just remember this date and keep a variable out there of your keyboard ninja sort of discernment, scanning skills of all things going on, and just keep an eye out of what goes on with the Buddhist expression now. I think it will be unable to hold back a lot of the truths because their codes of control have been lost because we got them back. And Karleen isn't a small player. And so, like I was saying, the level of fucking targeting that went on is just crazy. I had to go to ground. I just got smashed. And it wasn't a joke. And I had to do a lot of healing these last 2 weeks, especially that part 2. It was very, very tough to get out. I realized that the game was on a big level, and I just kept it very simple. It's very interesting. So when I haven't completed things, there's a vulnerability to them, and then therefore me, and I just get the technicals of those sort of things. So as we identified in that session with Karleen in those 2 recordings, is doubt as a major variable that can be out there, alright? And so the emotional mastery series that I've offered, the first part 1 is Feeling as Prayer, and that goes back many, many years, and I learned to rewire my emotional mechanics in my body, alright? This is a big thing about me, is that when I smell doubt, it's like, there's potential here, because I appreciate the relationship between doubt and potential. And my images are all really wet, so maybe I'll just put them next to me. But gives me even sharing these perspectives about that ideology now, alright? It might increase the variable of doubt with that ideology, but it's just data, right? It's an expanded awareness, right? Expansion mechanics. So I might have ruined this image, but I've got a photo of it. It's if you have uncertain doubt, you might be applying that all because of your lack of self-trust, that whole ideology is to be discerned. But as I said in the mystery school variable, everything is grey. There's good and bad and stuff, and it's about the ability to have a truth metal detector, you know, to be able to discern and stuff like that, alright, and measure each variable in its own merits. That's interesting. I haven't been rained on before doing a video. Managed to avoid it, but I left it to the last minute again because it has been pretty tough. So the rain's eased off. It's getting to the end of the day, and I'll see what I can do. Alright. So what I wanted to do is basically just establish some stuff about that relative to the mystery school. It's very important that they are out there for you to engage your perception mechanics and your discernment mechanics. With stuff going on at the moment, you might be using your mechanics to work out that relationship. The scale of shit that I've been through is not that. I'm very familiar with that. This is next level shit. So I think we hit it beautifully on the head with those two Mystery School releases, alright? And we both joked and stuff like that. But I have a joking nature because when I'm hardcore and serious, it's a different energy, I'll just say that, and I don't doubt. Fundamentally to me, I'm like professional as, alright? I've always said I came through as doing client services and IT engineering, going into the furnace of freaking disasters and doing the stuff that other people wouldn't be prepared to do, and it's just experience and trusting yourself and being thorough and doing the basics, so when the game is on, you're ready to go, alright? Making no assumptions. And that's the metaphor of the Last Dance and Michael Jordan sort of videos that I suggest people to watch, because his mechanics, I talk about a guy by the name of Malcolm Gladwell a lot, and he had a book called Outliers. Blink is like trusting your gut, but Outliers is about, sure, there's people out there with talents and stuff, but the core ingredient he found with most people is that with talents, that the people that do very well in this world, sure, they've got the talents, but they put 10,000 hours of effort into their craft to master. So they put in the hard work. So the effort you can put in is what you can control. The variables outside of that are the unknown, alright? So I was intending this to be an emotional mastery part 7, and in part 6, which is all about how your emotional state can influence your perception mechanics, what we identified in the Mystery School teachings can tie up to that, because doubt is a massive variable, right? So what if I just say to you, 40% of your doubt that you experience in all things that you do, especially exploring the spiritual realm, say, and I know this from my experience, so that's why I said in those videos I love doing so much healing, because in the relationship to feeling is prayer and not doing that rewiring of myself, I realized that we're by design miswired by this world on the feeling state. And so one of the variables that I learned to do is associate doubt with potential, right? So if I was experiencing a lot of doubt, then I was like, what's on the other side of this? You know, there's the mystery schools and the unknown. I just had a bit of an interruption and the sun came out, so now we've got light for a bit. What I was getting to is, over an extended period, I learnt to rewire my, maybe not totally rewire, doubt has a relevance, alright? But maybe there's different versions of doubt, alright? There's doubt that is warranted because you're sensing something that is misguided that might have a consequence to you down the track, and that's valid, right? But I'm inviting the opportunity here to splice up doubt like very few on the planet currently do, because if we take the mechanics of what was going on with Karleen in those videos, and despite her awareness, she still had an enormous amount of doubt, because the doubt would come in because if she stepped out of the accepted line of an expectation of what she was, not an expectation, but say with Karleen, if I invite you that we have been in an occupied reality for the last 25,000 years, someone with the potential to influence it is not wanted for that in a positive way, right? Because the control aspects don't want to be seen. And I can assure you the highly aware people that I've had the privilege of interacting with are usually the most targeted, and a lot of them have been taken out because they can see through all the bullshit. So a lot of the bullshit dam is crumbling, alright? So a lot of stuff is coming out, because I would suggest that anyone that has fear coming out and speaking their truth the Mystery School 1 and 2, the weaponized doubt has been used against you, alright? So the thing that went on with Karleen and myself is that I think it was mid-February, I had a couple of pretty tough sessions, and I've been helping people that have been very badly treated by variables out there. And this ties into the Ashayana massacre as well, because that's been weaponized against a lot of people, alright? If you appreciate that event, it's been projected through to every life, and particularly this one where the stellar activation cycle has been on track out there to be a potential for us to overcome all this bullshit that's been going on. And so the setup for failure has been there. But to say, what I was getting to is that what happened in, I think it was mid-February, is that Karleen was observing me and she saw that I was hammered, like I always am, right? So she stepped in, and the motive for stepping in was my past life deaths were actually being sent to her as well, right? So it was a bit like cross between Edge of Tomorrow and Groundhog Day, where Bill Murray is trying to save that guy, but he just can't save him. So my impression of that is that's what it's like. And so there's a threshold and stuff, and where do you do and stuff. So, but what I'd invite is that, and that's where we track back early on in the part 1 of the Mystery Schools, was that the interaction she had back in July 2019 was where a lot was read and seeded and set up for failure now, and since and before now, alright? And I would invite a lot of people that have had those sort of interactions have been weaponized the same way, and that's why if you go to my Access to Me page, I've uploaded those images relative to my session mechanics and why I only allow people to interact with me after they've paid the money for sessions, and I'm very tight on that, alright? Because all this stuff that's gone on that we're trying to take care of, it's not your fault, but you can be weaponized against us. And I've offered all the influences in the last few years of shows of these sort of things are going on, and all we're doing is we're reverse engineering it all. It's not been easy, and we've been up against it, but I think we've crossed the threshold where a lot of the awareness is now there. And so yeah, that was what was going on with Karleen, and so it became obvious to me that there was stuff going on. So that uncertainty and the doubt whether I would survive, she chose to step in, and it's all cool. Like, I'm grateful for her to care enough to do that. But we're operating in a very technical, high frequency sort of maximum sort of tip of the spear sort of stuff. So any tiny threshold like that can be the crack in the dam, so to speak, of say my defense or anything. And so I worked out tracking it back. That's when it occurred, and then from then on there was some stuff going on with the releases, and I had that planned downtime, as I said. So she took responsibility for it. She said, I don't know what's going on here. She put herself into the spiritual code equity, and then it was ironic, the very day that I worked out all the Swiss cheese stuff, the moment, like within half an hour, she booked another session, alright? So literally as soon as the coast was clear, it was on, alright? And so I'm inviting you to just appreciate that if you're experiencing a lot of doubt and all that sort of stuff, don't feel bad. You're pushing the limit of the reality just by being here and stuff. And what I will do is, before it gets too dark, I might show you a couple of images, alright? So it's a bit, this will dry out next time, or I might just say it might be ruined. We'll see what happens. But just imagine, do you associate doubt with love or fear? If you went back into that Emotional Mastery Part 6 where I included a lot of the Bruce Lipton clips, alright? So what if you don't know what's wrong or right? Then you have uncertainty, you're burning up a lot of energy, alright? And then the doubt can be weaponized against you, alright? So you might be taking incorrect variables, alright? And it's just interesting, hey? because what I'm going to offer is that splicing up of doubt a bit, alright? So let's just move on, because it's going to get dark soon. So I did this just before, alright? And so if you appreciate just the simple mechanics, right? When you have familiarity, you have confidence, alright? So what I'm associating here is the familiar. The confidence has a relationship to familiarity, alright? And the unknown, so this black line that goes down is the level of familiarity reduces the confidence over time, okay? And so what you're unfamiliar with has a lot of doubt associated with it, and discernment and all that sort of stuff, right? So what I might do is just pause this image at some point just to let you read it, and just have 30 seconds to look at it, because I'm just going to get through this pretty quick because it's getting dark and it's wet and all that sort of stuff, right? But what I'm suggesting is doubt is going to be very high to the unknown, right? But potential is related to the unknown, okay? From my perspective anyway. So there's an interesting dynamic with lack of confidence in going the unknown, and I think it's quite beautiful, right? Because if we had all this confidence in the unknown, I think it would be quite boring, alright? Just putting it mildly. And I say discovery for me is one of my biggest joys, alright? So how can we improve that, alright? And what I'm offering is, say, that weaponized doubt. What if the weaponized doubt is 40% of the doubt that you experience in everything? And it's just sending you, even in past lives where you've made choices that have had negative outcomes, to create the uncertainty in you more than is warranted. Like the volume is at 11 instead of being at 2 or 3, alright? So what if you are able to separate that from yourself, okay, and just reduce doubt by 40%? What's remaining, okay? And I've just got that nexus point there is the willpower point, alright? And this is where willpower comes in, because again, in my mechanics, and I've offered this a lot, regret is the thing I have the most weight to avoid, alright? So there's been particular experiences in my life where I've had the choice to explore them or not. And the mechanics of my decision point was, say for instance, buying DJ turntables. I saved 5 or 10 grand, or about 5,000 Aussie, early 90s, and it was a lot of money back then. I could have bought property and I would have been a millionaire if I did. I had a mate suggesting I buy some beachfront property at this place that at the time was crazy, but it's like a holiday resort now, so it would have been very well off. But I bought turntables and decks, and my rationale was thinking in my early 20s, like 30 would be so old, I'd be over the hill. I could never do it in my 30s, I had to do it early. So I risked everything and invested my money into Technics 1200 turntables and a good mixer and a lot of records, because I didn't want to regret in my 30s that I didn't give it a go just because I was comfortable with money. Right? So my mechanics in my life is regret is something I can control, and I'd rather have the experience to know I gave it my all, and that's what I've done a lot in my life. So I've got a different mechanics about regret and stuff. I'd rather not have regret and failure than the fear to try, okay? And I think that's quite rare. But I'm just offering that when it comes to the unknown, I'm sort of wired a bit. I've got a bit of strength on that, where other people don't even know that they can have it themselves if they just appreciate that, what I've said, okay? And you wouldn't be here unless you're willing to explore your unknown, alright? But what I'm just offering is that this shit is weaponized against us all here. And as I said in the write-ups of those 2 mystery schools, videos, I invited you to say Karleen was a metaphor for all of our stories, alright? Okay? So as I just said, it's natural to have uncertainty. Don't think it's bad. Appreciate it. Just go in and discern why you have uncertainty and do a sort of an equation, you know. I'm single and a guy, I don't have kids and all that, so I can risk more, okay? Whereas, say, a parent with kids and stuff, you're responsible for life, and it's an incredible responsibility and honor, alright? But perhaps some of the things you can't do because you've got to focus your priorities elsewhere. And I know I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I had my kids targeted, sort of thing, you know? And that goes into why Karleen's mechanics are that way, because I don't think it's been put out public, but she's been through some horrible stuff relative to her children. And it's incredible that she's still here, okay? So yeah, just that weaponized past life doubt. What if you deal with that, okay? And another thing that I've got that might be an awesome ally for you at the moment is anxiety. So anxiety is a thing that a lot of people have, right? Sorry for the bouncing around, I've switched hands. But what I found is, and I don't know if I've shown the clips yet, but one of the things I have to deal with my pranic healing and stuff is the meridian entities and that hack into our spleen and stuff like that, right? And may have been showing some clips from the awesome TV series called Krypton, which is about Superman's home planet. And there's a entity that creates a distorted reality for one particular being, like a plant tree that is a good expression of what the meridian entities are like, the octopus sort of stuff that goes around people's heads and stuff.
Administering Hell Blossom. Subject has returned to baseline.
Again. Your lack of progress is disappointing. Walk with me.
What is that thing?
It's called a Black Mercy. It's a parasitic plant from another world. I discovered it within Valel's fortress. It creates an entire alternate reality in the mind of its host.
Who is its host?
My mother.
No, it can't be. Lightasod died on Wegthor.
No. That was a clone. What's happening?
Black Mercy's having a negative reaction to the extraction. How long has Lyta been its host?
Months. She'd grown troubled by the loss of her mother. I've said. This brought her peace in a way I could not.
Lyta's vitals are stable now. I'm concerned that the Black Mercy's negative reaction to the extraction could cause Lyta's fantasy to collapse entirely.
Do we need more toxin?
Yes.
Then proceed. My mother's strength has been tested before. So it must be again.
One of the things I have to deal with my pranic healing and stuff is the meridian entities and that hack into our spleen and stuff like that, right? And may have been showing some clips from the awesome TV series called Krypton, which is about Superman's home planet. And there's a entity that creates a distorted reality for one particular being, like a plant, tree, that is a good expression of what the meridian entities are like, the octopus sort of stuff that goes around people's heads and stuff. And what I'm just getting to is a pretty cool tool that I've found that people don't really get, because I can splice a lot of this stuff up and be aware of things. What I found an awesome tool out there that maybe you guys haven't explored is these things. Ear candles, alright? And I can associate it to anxiety. So that sort of entity sort of shit can create anxiety in you, alright? And what I found, these things, they're an awesome tool to actually suck the shit out of your meridians. Okay, so the alchemy that goes on is it might collect out your ear, alright? And if you understand reflexology, the ear is a metaphor of the whole body, right? What I know about these things is they can suck that shit out of your meridians that I can clear out of with pranic healing as well. And I don't get anxiety a lot, alright? But at times when I've had it, and I've done all my other tools and stuff, like I said, like my whole infinite's on me and stuff, these are just an interesting another variable out there that you can use. So there was a time where I did basically 12 in each ear. I just went and kept doing it, and I could feel it all sucking out of me, alright? Out the ears. So they're, I don't know, they're about $30 to $50 US for a batch of 12. So if you think how much healings can cost and stuff, they might just be an ingredient that you can get through whatever you're getting through as a tool. It's not rocket science to do. You just use a bit of paper towel and lie on your side and put one in. It's getting quite dark here, as you can see. So what I might do is look to expand on this at another point. It was good just to get this out and offer some of those things and make it a bit lighter. So as I said about these mystery school releases, they're some of the biggest ones I've ever released. They're so rich with content and stuff, and as I said, what I feel we did was tie up a relationship between the ancient mystery schools and the more recent Buddhism tradition, okay? And I'm not saying the Buddhism is all bad and stuff. I think it was just a target and hijacked it because of the potential influence it had, and that's why it has so much success. And that thing that the Dalai Lama did right on the day, okay, that I did that session where we called back all the codes for the control of that back to Karleen and engaged her rainbow body in real life, for her to have the codes to bring through the truths that she has a potential to offer. It was a massive thing, and so that's why I got a lot of the targeting and stuff, because we really need to have the courage to discern everything in this world that we've accepted. You know, it's nice to be able to trust something and think that the paths that we've gone are right, but just ask yourself the choice points that you had to go down them. Did you have other mechanics going on? And my guess, a lot of us did and have, but there's been no alternative, okay? A lot of the truth, you know the the story of me with the Ashayana stuff. It's took me 10 years to really appreciate it and stuff, and so I think we've all had those sort of instances where we could have chosen paths, and if we had the context, as I love showing that image, we would always choose the best path if we had the data to measure against. So that's what I'm about. I'm about offering you the data to make good decisions and find the best pathway for you through everything, okay? So I will just wind this out. It's not aimed to be a big one. I'm really inviting you to go and really splice up those 2 mystery schools and also the past emotional mastery release, which this is a bit of an expansion on, but I might do a bit more thorough in the future because I was dealing with the elements and the light and to me it's just been a real big victory just to get this done, and I have intent to do other recordings and stuff. Me doing a video like this doesn't have so much heat on me. So yeah, I hope, thank you for being here. Sorry about the dark and all that. I got a bit interesting dynamics with the rain, having to adapt in real time, knowing that I didn't have much time. Okay, so I really want to honor you for your courage to be here still, despite the relentless bullshit that we've had to endure for so long. And it may be the most uncertain path that is out there. And I, like you, probably wonder why other people don't see things the way we do. But I would invite that you've somehow managed to master and splice up doubt to different degrees. And if you've explored with me, you've had the courage to do so more on a level that very few people can. And I just want to thank you for your courage to anchor your truth and allow me to be a part of it and an ingredient in whatever you accept as being the truth, okay? But I want to invite you to take that to the next level. What if you do splice up doubt how I've offered? What if the volume of that doubt isn't accurate, but you've accepted it, you've taken it on as anchor weights to your navigation? And do you feel that it will be harder or easier to navigate with that appreciation now? So if you haven't yet, go and explore those 2 mystery school releases. I'm deliberately not doing this very long to encourage that. And what if you overlay the Karleen journey that she went through in that, and all the other healings that we've done related to the Galactic Special Forces stuff, as being your story as well? How potent do you become? Right? But yeah, I'll just round it out because you'll be talking to a black screen in a sec. So thank you again for allowing me to be a part of a journey. I hope you gain a lot from this and all the releases, and this helps launch you to your next level and your infinite potential, because I can assure you we'll all benefit from that. Okay, so keep pushing hard, and until next time, Andre out.
Apprehensive, Rob?
Apprehensive, Tommy. I'm shit scared. Or should I say, Shinto scared. But as we say in the stunt game, we don't let fear make our decisions for us.
I notice you're only a yellow belt.
That's the highest of all, Tommy.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. It goes blue, brown, black, then yellow. It changed a couple of years ago.
Right.
You may not have picked that up. Awareness and alertness in the advanced state I'm seeking can only be achieved through concentration of the mind. I can shut my eyes and be aware of everything around me through the study of Kendo Sai, the way of the warrior, and alertness for everything they got. Jesus, Mick, you nearly killed me.
I got the stuff.
I wasn't alert, Mick. You knew that. Wait until I'm alert and aware. He caught me off guard. I mean, I really To achieve that advanced state of alertness and awareness, Tommy, you need to warm up. Some exercises.
For the mind.
For the mind.
Yeah, for the mind.
And for me, it's breaking boards. Personal choice. Others like tiles. But it has to be done with knowledge. Has to be done right. Mick, when you hold the board, I want you to hold it out here, not here.
Rob, are you all right? Shh. He's concentrating. You okay now, Rob?
Oh, yeah. One can transcend pain. In the art of Shindo Kai, sorry, I'm a little nasal, one can transcend pain. Concentration, that's the key. If you concentrate in Shindo Kai, the pain is gone. Look, I'll show you how. Stand back. Hey, security pass. I want to see a security pass. You just stand back. All right, Mick, I want you to hit me. I say.
Rob, I don't think you were concentrating. See, you didn't concentrate.
Just stop for a second.
Don't ever not...
Sit down for a second.
You okay now, Rob?
Oh, yeah. I can transcend this if I want to.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to.
No. The Shindo Kai, it's gone. I don't even know it's there.
Raining again, Rob.
Yeah, raining, Tommy. Not much we can do about that. The waiting. It's the worst part. Still, the stunt game is the loneliest business of them all, so they say. It actually reminds me of my first stunt. I was 7. I just got out of the bath. My hair was wet. And my mum said to me, Rob, it's raining outside. Don't go out there. I was told not to do something dangerous. Join the dots on those. I was sleepless for a week.
So, where's Mick?
Oh, he's out planning. He's got a lot of fine adjustments to make to... Okay, let's do it.
But, Rob, it's still raining. What about the waiting and the lonely game?
Oh, bugger that. Come on, Mick. Oh, bloody hell. No, Mick, here. Here. Yeah, no, there.
Very exciting. Now, where's Mick?
Oh, he's down there. Can you see us, Mick? Yeah, you can see us. No problems. I think he's taking a run up. What speed, mate? 90 k's. 90 k's. It's going to be 90 k's. It's dangerous. I'll take that. There you go. Well, we're ready. I'll just explain it. I'm going to be standing here. The truck is going to get to there. I'm still standing there. 1 centimetre later... Well, I won't do the movement, but I'm going to be out of there. Don't worry about that.
Well, Rob, just finally...
You'll need security passes, and you need to stand back. Yep.
Any doubts?
No doubts. Not in this game. Not in this game. No doubts. If you asked me how to spell doubt right now, I wouldn't know. Ask me how to spell doubt.
Spell doubt.
No. Maybe there's a B in there. I'm not sure.
Good luck, Rob. Mick, what happened? What are you doing under there? You mustn't have been concentrating.
Come here.
What is it?
Heading for the city lights, and I ain't
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. then we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.